Hello, hello. It's Friday again. Come on in. Today I wanted to continue the story about my first visit to Liverpool and London on that first trip back in 1983 on the Charles Rosenet Rock Apple Tour. It was so much fun. We went to London, we went to Blackpool, we went to Blackburn to count some holes, if you know what I mean. And on the buses as we were going around through the whole tour, we had a tour guide on our bus that was so smart. He seemed to know everything. Every intersection we went through, he was telling a story. Every building that we went by, he was telling a story, and was so knowledgeable about the Beatles himself. That's him here on this side in the picture with the beard. And at one point I said to him, "Man, you know so much just off the top of your head. You should write a book." And he says, "I am writing a book." This is 93. This book had not come out yet. And of course, that was Mr. Mark Lewisohn that wrote this Beatles Live book, and then went on to write several others that you may have seen and heard about and read before. And of course, he also wrote the huge cinder block of a book, Tune In, that wouldn't dare. We're on the second floor here. I don't think I would feel comfortable bringing it up here. Setting it on the table might fall through the table there. But Mark Lewisohn, being the authority that he has become on that, was our tour guide for that week, or that we spent on the bus with him, and it was just so wonderful. And the tour, of course, ended in Liverpool for the last few days there for what was called the forerunner of Beatle Week. It was just called the Beatle Freak Ball and Beatle convention there. And one of my objectives, or something I was hoping to do when I went to England the first time, was find one really nice piece, to be able to bring home for the collection as a nice display souvenir. And one of the items that I had seen there was a particular guitar that I was really lusting heavily after, and it was that toy guitar right there. And at one point I was looking at that guitar, and I realized that I was standing right beside Mr. Alan Williams that I'd met the night before. And Alan Williams was, of course, the man who gave the Beatles away, or at least the book title, one of their early managers that was instrumental in helping them get kicked off. He is the man that put them on the van to head for Hamburg. And I was talking about how much I wanted that guitar, and Alan Williams said to me, "You know, I think I've got one of those in my basement. If you'd like to have that one." And I said, I'd love to have. And he wandered off, and I thought, well, probably never see him again or hear any more about that one. And not too long after that, he walked back up with that very guitar and presented it to me that way, and said, take good care of that, and have that for your collection, man." That was very nice of him, but kind of just typical Liverpool hospitality there. And that guitar is now a prize in the collection. And you remember not too long ago when Lawrence Juber was talking about the little bits of Ringo Starr DNA that was in his guitar? Well, when I was starting to clean this up, maybe to go into the collection, I noticed that there was a lot of dirt and just whatever the remains that are still inside that guitar, and I decided not to clean it out because may not be DNA in there, but whatever's in there came from Alan Williams' basement, I believe. And of course, then that also goes in with the collection of all the guitars. They made a wide range of toy guitars there, which certainly represented the Beatles very well, because we all know that phrase, "A guitar's all right, John, but you'll never make a living from it," right? Well, apparently the toy manufacturers found a way to make a living off of the guitars. There's a new sound guitar here, and there's an electric version of, there's the series of three or four of these right here. Ukulele, small guitar, junior guitar, that one's called. The Big Six with 6 strings. The Pop 4 guitar, a ukulele size guitar, and the Beatlist guitar with 6 strings as well. One of my favorites is this tiny little plastic guitar, had rubber bands on it that you could plunk along with, and had a little catch on the back that you could wear it as a lapel pin if you wanted to, and show off your guitar all day long. In the 4th or 5th grade, that was probably me. Some of these big guitars, especially this Big Beat series here, came in a box that had a beautiful sticker on it. Now, as you can see there, that may not be the most beautiful sticker there, but one of my objectives, I suppose, in doing my collection is to keep things like this out of the landfill. I'd certainly much rather have that in my collection than have that land in the landfill, you know. So also have to acknowledge the sad news that we got today. The passing of Astrid Kirchner, and she was just, you know, so instrumental in the critical piece of the puzzle that make up the picture of the whole Beatle story. She was at Beatlefest a couple of times over there and signed a couple of promotional items. The lady that took these pictures the first time that they were photographed as the Beatles, and some iconic images that certainly have stuck with us over what are we talking now, 60 years ago that happened. This is one of my favorite pictures that I took. Klaus signed that one, but her beautiful smile there, and just the way that Klaus is looking at her there, you could see the love between those two in that photo, and I'm sure that that lasted a lifetime too. So that's a bit of sad news to end that story with, but so I hope I am enjoying telling these little stories. Hope you are too, because if you know me, you know that I love the Beatles music, but another music that I really love is the progressive music. Yes, King Crimson and Genesis, that type of music. And there's a line in a Genesis song that says, "Let us relive our lives with what we tell you." And it's really, really nice to relive some of these moments in my life and share the stories with you, to invite you into my collection. Tuesday, it's May 19th, and that means a story about the day before that and how May 19th fits into another long saga. Peace and love. Stay safe. Science.